All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here again for week number 17 of Pete's Power Rankings. Yes, the end is in sight. We just rolled through Christmas. I hope everyone had a great and fantastic holiday season. We had a lot of tickets punched this week. We pretty much know where everyone's going to end up this season. There's a few spots left, and somehow, some way, some of these awful teams are still alive, fighting for that postseason berth. I went through, I watched 99% of all these games, taking notes, keeping tabs. I've ranked everybody from 32 to 1, but let's get into it right now. These are my bottom tier teams, some of the worst teams in the league. Technically, one of these teams is still alive, but man, it would be a long shot. But let's get into it, 32 through 24. Okay, 32 through 24, the mighty have fallen. I mean, I guess they were never really mighty, but the Broncos officially taking over the last ranked team. What a horrendous season for Russell Wilson. They just fired head coach Nathaniel Hackett, which I think was long overdue. Honestly, it feels like the Broncos hired Hackett thinking they were able to get Rodgers this past offseason. It fell apart. They ended up getting Russell Wilson, and they just kind of stuck with it. Hackett's a bad coach, man. He doesn't know how to do anything. Go back to Green Bay, go back to Matt LaFleur, but that's all over. Houston finally got a win again. Another win number 2 against the Titans. Nice win for them. Bears bad, Colts bad, Cardinals bad, Falcons awful with Desmond Ridder. The Browns lost at home to a bad Saints team. The Saints still technically alive for the NFC South somehow, some way. The Saints are still alive. They need a lot of help, but they could technically get into this game. And then finally, the Rams put them up 4 spots. Congrats, you blew out a terrible Denver team. Baker actually looks competent. Could he have bought himself another chance somewhere? Or does he stay in LA, maybe back up Matt Stafford for a season, and then take over as the starting man? Who knows? But let's get into these middle tier teams, 23 through 16. A lot of these teams still have a fighting chance. 1 or 2 of them may already be eliminated, but these are kind of your average teams. But let's get into it. Okay, big win for the Panthers against the Lions. I like the Panthers this weekend against Detroit. They absolutely routed them, running for 100 yards with each back in the first half. I think it was 240 yards total. One of the best rushing performances you will see. The defense was stout against a high-powered Detroit offense coming into the game. Gave up some points late, but the game was already settled. Carolina now controls their own destiny. They went out. They are your NFC South champions and in the postseason somehow. Huge win by Pittsburgh also to keep alive. Vegas was eliminated. You always knew Pittsburgh was going to win. After the passing of Franco Harris, you knew they were going to win that game. New England, horrible first half against Cincinnati. Somehow almost pulled that game off with a little bit of magic. But Mac Jones is not it at quarterback, or they don't have an offensive guy as a head coach or as an offensive coordinator. Matt Patricia's dog shit. Maybe get somebody in and give Mac Jones a fighting chance. Seattle, they were okay against Kansas City, but they're now on the precipice. Got to beat the Jets at home this weekend. Tennessee, another horrible, horrible loss, but they still control their own destiny. They went out. They will be your NFC South champions. No Ryan Tannehill. It's a real problem. Green Bay, don't look now. They are on fire, winning 3 in a row. They've beaten 3 bad teams. I guess it'd be the Dolphins, who are a good team, but we found out Tua got a concussion at the end of the first half and played the entire second half with scrambled eggs for brains. So he threw 3 picks. They lost the game. They host Minnesota and Detroit the next 2 weeks. They need a little bit of help to get in, but they definitely have a shot. Big one coming up at home against Minnesota. Tampa Bay did just enough to beat Arizona here at 16. They control their own destiny. They got to beat Carolina this week or have some help. But really, you beat the Panthers this week, you're probably winning the division. All for them. And you're going to find Tom Brady in the playoffs. Not ideal for anyone. This team isn't good, but you never can count Brady out. But let's get into what everyone came in here for. Top 15s so far. We just got 2 weeks left. But before we get into it, drop a quick like in this video. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. New videos every single weekday. But here we go. Number 5. This team was on fire and they cooled off a little bit. Okay, at number 15, I'm going to drop the Lions down here 4 spots. Bad performance against Carolina. I thought they were up against it a little bit. I liked Carolina in this game. But man, absolutely embarrassing. The defense had been playing really, really well, and they got carved up like they were Swiss cheese or a holiday roast. It was ugly, man. Like I said, Carolina rushed for 240 yards in the first half. Absolutely abysmal, and the offense really couldn't get anything going, and it's absolutely amazing when you look at the numbers with this team, the night and day difference between games at home and games on the road. Really elite at home, absolutely pathetic on the road. You gotta kind of maybe cool off a little bit at home and bring that road offense up a bit. They still control their own destiny. They should get in if they win out. All they need is Washington to lose one of their final 2 games. They get Green Bay to end the season, another team fighting for a playoff spot. They got Chicago this week. The Bears are pretty awful, so they'll probably win that game. But all in all, Detroit really flubbed things, losing to Carolina. Probably next year for you Lions fans. Okay, number 14, I got the Commanders staying put here. Bad performance against the Niners. Taylor Heineke ended up getting benched. I don't know if this team turns to Carson Wentz now. Heineke has not been great the last few weeks. The magic is starting to wear off. The defense is what keeps them in the games. They're absolutely outstanding up front. They've got to work on their secondary coverage a little bit. George Kittle carved them up, but he kind of does that to a lot of people. They control their own destiny. Actually, Commanders win out. They are winning the wild card spot. So they got everything in front of them. They have a tough game to close the season with Dallas at home. But it's nice that maybe Dallas rests their starters if Philly can clinch the division this week. But if Philly doesn't clinch the division this week, Dallas is going to send everything they got with hopes of actually clinching the NFC East. So Washington's kind of an awkward spot. Cleveland at home this week should be no problem for them. But for now, 14 for the Commanders. Okay, I'm going to put the Jets here at 13, drop a slot. Zach Wilson's done. His career in New York is over. He's been terrible. He made one elite throw at his pro day on the final throw of the day, and he fleeced everybody into thinking he was an elite quarterback. He's just terrible. He doesn't work hard. He's got that preppy, too good for everything attitude. The locker room hates him, but Mike White is back for them. This should give him a nice spark. The defense has been really, really good. They can only do so much when the offense is so anemic. They're at Seattle this week, the Jets. This is a do-or-die game for either one of these teams. Seattle's been terrible. The Jets have been terrible. But the Jets are getting reinforcements in their head with Mike White coming in at quarterback. So I like the Jets here to win this game and then possibly actually get into that wild card spot with Miami the last week of the season, since Tua looking like his season might be over. So Jets here at 13. Okay, 12, excuse me. I'm going to bump the Giants up here to 12. I'm going to move them up a spot. Honestly, I really liked what I saw against Minnesota. Now, I know everyone's going to call Minnesota frauds. They're bad against everybody, or they play everybody close. Giants did a really good job. Daniel Jones was very, very accurate this weekend. Found the slants over the middle. He was hitting guys in stride. Very nice from him. The defense for the Giants was really strong in the first half. Wasn't able to get it done in the second half. They dropped an interception that would have been a real backbreaker for Minnesota. They ended up giving the touchdown on that same drive. But a 61-yard field goal at Minnesota to lose is a tough way. I like how they responded. They were down 8. Inside of 5 minutes, they went down the field. They scored before the 2-minute warning. Got the 2-point conversion. They're in really good shape. Everybody else lost this week. They're sitting comfortable in that 6th spot in the wild card. They just need either a win or some help. Anybody to lose that's chasing them, and they get in. So I think the Giants here are comfortable at the 6th spot. And if Minnesota loses a game, they're going to be back in Minnesota, and we just saw how they played. So great season from the Giants. We know how they're limited all around. Brian Dable's done a fantastic job. So I got the Giants here at 12. Number 11, I'm actually going to bump the Jaguars up 4 spots here. I love this team. They have found their identity. Trevor Lawrence has emerged. Some call him the prince that was promised. He's playing like a number 1 overall draft pick. Doug Peterson offense is humming. He's getting the balls out to wide receivers. I mean, he played a legit defense in New York, and he was very smart with the football. He took his opportunities when he needed to, scored about 20 points, and he did what he needed to do. Jaguars have it all in front of them. This week is kind of a meaningless game for them. They can lose. All that matters is if they beat Tennessee the last week of the season at home, they are your AFC South Division champs, which would be absolutely phenomenal. They have an identity. They play pretty good defense. They got an elite offensive coach and an elite quarterback, it looks like, in the making. So the Jaguars here at number 11, fingers crossed, because I would love to see this team in the postseason playing the Chargers in the first round. What a fun little matchup. But Jacksonville, I think it's going to be all right. I expect this team to be good for a long stretch here. You have your franchise quarterback, and you look like you have a already Super Bowl winning coach in full stride once again. So the Jags here at number 11. All right, number 10, I'm going to drop the Dolphins down here to number 10. Bad loss at home to the Packers. Could have ended Green Bay's season, and they had been sliding. They had really been struggling the past 3 weeks. This was a perfect opportunity to get the job done at home. Had 20 points in the first half, were up 10, and they got shut out the rest of the game. Now, Tua got the concussion at the end of the half. They didn't see it. They kept him playing. He was abysmal. But they ended the game here with a fumble, missed field goal, interception, interception, interception. Those were the last 5 drives of the game for the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel's great at scheming stuff early. He has not been good in adjustments late in the season. Now, everybody knows what they're doing most of the time when you got to go off script. It's not been good for him, but these are kind of the lumps you take with a rookie head coach. And their defense, I said all season, they would be the downfall of this team. And they cannot get stops when they need to. Really, really, really going to hurt them overall. And they're gasping for air. Got New England, got the Jets the last 2 weeks of the season. 2 teams right there chasing them. Hopefully Teddy Bridgewater can get it done, because I don't expect to see Tua the rest of the season. Would be a really, really disastrous finish for Miami if they don't make the last wildcard spot. All right, it was ugly, it wasn't pretty, but the Ravens got the job done playing the bad Falcons team. They got the win. They locked up their playoff spot. They can rest Lamar for another week or 2 and get ready for the postseason. I don't think they're going to be able to beat Cincinnati the last week of the season in Cincinnati to win this division. So it's most likely another wild card spot. And I just don't know with Lamar. Does Lamar say, F it, I'm not playing, you got to pay me? I can't risk really getting hurt and not getting that paycheck. It's just kind of an awkward spot. The defense for Baltimore has been lights out. They've been really good the second half of the year. It's been such nice improvement for them. But the offense is the problem. We know it's the problem. Lamar makes this offense. Tyler Huntley can only do so much. J.K. Dobbins is a nice addition back, but it just really leaves you wanting so much more watching this team try and play offense. Hopefully Lamar comes back for the playoffs. For now, I got him at 9. They're locked in. They're already in the postseason. They could slide a bit here. Maybe they're the 6th seed. Maybe they stay at the 5 seed. I don't know. The division is still in play, but it's going to be a real stretch for me to see them get in that division. So I got the Ravens here at 9. All right, don't look now. The Chargers actually playing good football. Winners of 3 in a row. Really, really nice to see from the Chargers. Finally, living up to some potential. They punched their ticket into the postseason. They could slide up into that 5 seed in the AFC. They can't win the division, obviously. Chiefs have that locked up. So they got to go on the road for the rest of the season, and it's going to be real tough for them. This is a team that just needs an offensive head coach, just desperately. The defense is playing a lot better. Now, they're playing some pretty bad offenses, but still playing better. I mean, Miami's offense was good, but they've been really struggling. That's a really nice thing to see. But the offense with all the weapons, with an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert, just leaves so much more to being desired. They should be opening up this game. They should be more aggressive. I don't know how they haven't figured out how to run the football this season. Austin Eckler's a good running back. Their offensive line is not bad, but it's just not clean at all. Herbert feels like he is kind of control of the offense by himself, and that's a problem for a guy who's only 3rd year in the league. Get them an offensive head coach. I don't care that they've made the playoffs. You got to get rid of Brandon Staley. Bring in Sean Payton, please, LA, and you will be an absolute juggernaut. Got them here at 8. They could win a postseason game, especially if they end up, going to Jacksonville in the first round. That's a very winnable game, or Tennessee. Both very winnable. Get them in the divisional round. I don't think this team can make a Super Bowl run, but still a good team in the postseason. Okay, number 7. I'm sure all the haters are going to get on my neck. I'm keeping the Cowboys here at 7. It was nice that they won the game at home, but you played Gardner Minshew. You let him still drop 34 on your defense. That's a concern for me if I'm Dallas. Jacksonville just scored 40. Gardner Minshew just dropped 34. Not good. They did get 4 takeaways, though, which really helped out the Cowboys offense. Let them score 40 points on a very top-rated Eagles defense. But it was very much night and day. Now, the Cowboys would say, well, the Eagles beat us with Cooper Rush. Yeah, it was a little bit different of a game. Cowboys clawed it out. Cowboys got it a win. They need to get a win. They still have some life in winning this division, but most likely 5 seeds the worst they can do. They're heading to the NFC South winner, which is a win, and then you're probably heading back to Philly in the second round with Jalen Hurts healthy. The only good thing is the Eagles are starting to get a little banged up. Cowboys need to figure it out. Dak, you gotta stop turning the damn ball over. One of the worst pick sixes you will ever see in this game, but he did get the job done. T.Y. Hilton may not do anything the rest of the season, but he made the one play he needed to on 3rd and 30. So good for Dallas. I still think I'd be getting very concerned now that the defense is giving up so many points, because if the offense isn't almost perfect and the defense does give up these points, they're toast. Okay, staying put here at number 6, I got my Vikings. I know this team is very predictable. Their defense is abysmal. The offense is really, really good. If you can keep the Vikings offense under 30-ish points, you're probably going to beat them. If you can get up on the Vikings early and keep them at arm's length, they might struggle to come back against a very good team. But if you catch yourself in a close game with this Vikings team, you are catching the L. Winners of 11 straight one-score games. That's the most in a single NFL season, and it's the most to start undefeated. Kirk Cousins leads the NFL, set the record for most fourth-quarter comebacks in a season and most game-winning drives with 8. Nobody else has more than 5. So this team is a double-edged coin. If they're in the game, you are screwed, but they are suffering a weak spot where you can jump out on this team early and bury them quickly. Those are their 2 of their losses this season. They got buried early by the Eagles and the Cowboys. So it's very simple. Nobody can cover Justin Jefferson. He might get 2,000 yards. He might get some MVP votes. Fantastic season all around for the Vikings. They're going to be at home. If they win out, they will be the 2 seed, so potentially hosting 2 playoff games. If Philly loses out and the Vikings win out, they will grab that 1 seed. So very interesting moving forward. If the Vikings get that 1 seed and get that bye, really, really big for them. But this team will be the downfall of their defense. They won't get stops. Good teams will move the ball all over them. Keep that potent offense off the field. So Vikings probably win in 1 playoff game. If they win 2, it'll be amazing to me, honestly. But for right now, keep them at 6. Okay, number 5, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I love this team. I love me some Joe Burrow. They were up 22-0 on New England. It looked like Burrow was going to go for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns against this Patriots team. Things kind of fell apart in the second half. Some really bad bounces, bad turnovers, some unlucky shit, some weird New England shit happening in New England. Who would have guessed? But the defense got the stop when they needed to. This team is very well-rounded. Defense is so underrated. They've been fantastic all year long. They did lose La'el Collins at right tackle. They've been an entire unit this entire year on the offensive line, and they've been getting a lot better, so that is concerning. Big matchup this weekend. Bengals hosting the Buffalo Bills. Bengals win that game, and the Chiefs slip up one of their last 2. The Bengals are going to be your 1 seed. They're just sitting here waiting to pounce on these power rankings. This is a scary team. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They know how to win games. They know how to win road playoff games. I'd be afraid to play this Bengals team. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody could beat them. I could see the Bengals actually making a run and winning this thing. So a lot to play for still moving forward. One of my favorite teams, the Cincinnati Bengals. At 5 for now, but at any moment I could jump these bad boys up to 1. Okay, the Buffalo Bills. Really ugly weather conditions in Chicago this weekend. Pretty abysmal first half from Buffalo. They just really didn't do anything. But they finished it strong, put the Bears away like good teams have to. Offense is still way too Josh Allen reliant. With them. He has to make plays with them. I want to see them continue the running game. Both Singletary and James Cook had very solid days on the ground against Chicago, but Chicago's defense is really terrible. So I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more commitment to that. Defense is solid. The offense is good. This is obviously a Super Bowl or bust team. I just feel like they make too many mistakes. They get in their own way. Got them here at 4. Big game. You go on the road, you beat Cincinnati, you lock up that 1 seed essentially because you're hosting New England the last week of the season. They should blow out the Patriots again. So I like this Buffalo team a lot. They're sitting here at 4. If they could really, really make some moves here, winning these next 2 games, clinching that 1 seed, going to Orchard Park. The weather in the country has been abysmal. It's not going to get any better, and that's a huge advantage to them when they got a guy that can sling the ball like it's nobody's business in the cold weather. That's a huge, huge edge, but I still would like to see some more diversity in the offense to make teams guessing and not get so comfortable on defense. Okay, number 3, I got the Kansas City Chiefs here. I like this team a lot, but man, they do a lot of playing with their food. I'm really, really hoping that they don't do this in the postseason, but I could be wrong. They could just be kind of a lackluster team. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback on the planet. It's not even in question. If you do question it, go to the doctor, get yourself checked out. He does everything for this team. We know how good the play calling is and the coaching with Andy Reid. The defense was really good against Seattle. I really like to see that. This is a Seattle team that's kind of struggling, but they really got after Geno Smith. They made his life miserable. Secondary was so much better. They still got the 1 seed right in their grasp. Cincinnati wins that home game against Buffalo. All Kansas City has to do is win out, and they're your 1 seed. Going to Arrowhead is tough. It's bad weather. Like I said, it'll be cold and frigid. Mahomes has got a howitzer on his arm also. This is a team that benefits from playing at home. The crowd is electric. Gets this team into it. I'm expecting them to make a deep, deep run once again. There are some flaws. It is concerning if you are a Chiefs fan. If I was still a betting man, I like the Chiefs to come out of the AFC and probably win the Super Bowl, but they're not quite there yet. So let's get to number 2. Okay, I'm going to drop the Eagles down 1 spot here at number 2. I really liked what I saw from Gardner Minshew. Honestly, you turned the ball over 4 times, but still managed to put up a shit ton of points at Dallas on the road in a big spot. This team needs to get Jalen Hurts back. Probably going to sit out again this week against the Saints. He could play. It's kind of an awkward situation for them. All they need is a Dallas loss or a Minnesota loss to clinch the division and the 1 seed respectively. Or they have to do is win and they clinch the 1 seed and the division also. So it's kind of a weird spot. They are starting to get the injury bug now. We just learned we lost Lane Johnson with a torn abdominal. So that's not good if you're Philadelphia. They got a couple of injuries in the secondary. All in all, we know how well-rounded this team is. Defense did get cooked up, but a lot of short fields. They gave up a lot of yards. It was just kind of a bad setup in Dallas this weekend. Still like the Eagles. Still probably going to be the 1 seed. That's still an awful place to go play a football game. You might get hit in the head with a battery if you're an opposing fan or an opposing team or fan. Who knows? Because the Philly fans are ruthless here. Like the Eagles, though, a lot. I'm going to have to slide them down, though, because this team has been absolutely lights out. The only problem is they might have to go on the road for 2 games in the postseason, and that's the biggest question mark. But other than that, this is the most complete team right now. Okay, number 1 for the first time, your San Francisco 49ers. It's been kind of an up and down season, but they have been lights out, winners of 7 in a row. There are 8 in a row now at this point. They've been absolutely fantastic. Brock Purdy has done great. He has filled in for Jimmy G, and honestly, the offense is a little bit better sometimes. Now, he has made some suspect throws here and there, but who hasn't? I mean, Jimmy G used to do it all the time. The real key to this team is this is the best defense in football. Nick Bosa is going to be your defensive player of the year. He's an absolute terrorist on the defensive line. It's absolutely amazing how good he is. You could put 2 guys over there. You could put 3 guys over there. I don't know if you're going to be able to block him. The run game has been really, really solid. Kyle Shanahan is the best play caller as you're going to find. The only question is he does struggle when his team gets leads in big games. And like I said, probably going to have to go on the road for 2 games. The schedule is really soft the remaining of the season. So if Minnesota slips up against Green Bay or Chicago, they're going to get the 2 seed and only going to have to go on the road for an NFC title game, which would be a big, big difference. All in all, a super complete team, a very hot team. And honestly, Purdy can't be any worse than Jimmy G has been in the fourth quarter of playoff games. So this could be the difference to finally get the Niners back in the Super Bowl. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Where do you disagree? What do you think is going to be the Super Bowl matchup? We're getting to that time. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.